Hello, everyone. Greg Michlig here, President and CEO at CUInsight.com. And on this episode of Three Questions, it's a pleasure to welcome Karen McGaughey, Principal and CXO for Strum. Karen, thanks for being here.
Yeah, Greg, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. I've been looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well, and I'm sure everyone is eager to hear about the valuable insights you have to share. So, with that, let's get to those three questions. What's the biggest mistake credit unions make when developing their marketing budgets?
So I'm gonna kind of back up to just the executive suite, because there are some aspects, involving the marketing team, but focusing on how do we ensure that we're going to start off on the right foot. And I would say one of the biggest mistakes is when a marketing leader is not engaged in the strategic planning. And so when they're not present, then their budgeting process has many blind spots and isn't really focused on what the top priorities, focus, and objectives might be for the organization as they're kind of forecasting, into the following year. So those critical initiatives, maybe there's new product launches, a new branch, maybe expansion is in mind, and those can't very well be, put into consideration for where the best budget allocation might be. So having a leader in marketing at the table to be able to, hear firsthand what is going to be key focuses for growth is absolutely critical so the marketing can measure up to that.
Yeah, and if they have the seat at that table, which I agree they should, how can that marketing leader make the case for a larger or more flexible marketing budget in those discussions?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so marketing departments generally, I mean, really since, haven't really been able to make a comeback since pre-COVID. So, we remember budgets were, cut drastically. And so the pressure for growth is also mounting. And having a marketing leader present at that table then allows to, be educating the executive team and kind of reality setting some of their growth expectations with what it really requires in a much more sophisticated, complex marketing world. I think we've all heard that everyone is a marketer, but as marketing has grown in its sophistication, understanding some of those core principal concepts isn't really well understood. And having a marketing leader at the table can help fill in those gaps and kind of reality set what's required for a marketing team, and what the resources are needed in order to help bring some of those growth impacts and drive performance that the executive team is really desiring and wanting to have happen.
Yeah, I smiled when you said everyone is a marketer. I've spent a little time in marketing and I understand exactly what you mean. And the expertise necessary to be able to deliver today is so much different than maybe people perceive that it is. And as those discussions are taking place and having that expertise in the room, you know, credit unions themselves, what should they be thinking about in terms of prioritization in their marketing spend, really to get the most return?
Mhm. Well, using data as kind of a driving focus and your compass. And there's growth is desired, but having the right tools in order to drive that is one of the very first places that I think marketing teams need to begin advocating to ensure that they have at hand what it is that they're being asked to deliver on. Marketing teams still don't have adequate access, at least most, or many of them don't, to just even their first party data. They have antiquated systems, maybe even still requiring submitting a service ticket to IT to get data that's now 30 days old. So it's really not as actionable as what it needs to be in order to be a top performer. So using data, to your advantage, knowing your members, who are the highest contributing segments, within your membership, where else are they out in your market? Is there still room for adequate growth that the organization is seeking, needing in order to, maintain its growth trajectory? So, also, educating executive teams on just the cost of spending. There was one example I had where, an executive team was setting big, bold vision for membership growth that really would have required about at least 1,000% increase in growth in a single year, where flat growth is what they had been experiencing, and the marketing budget was going to also remain flat. So data is your friend, lean into benchmarks, know what your peers are spending, advocate for the tools that you need in order to, help drive overall success and performance for the credit union.
Yeah, data is so important. I had a hunch that's maybe where you would go with the answer on that one. But the data and the analytics and being able to take that and make it meaningful is so important. And, as I think about that and just anything from a, broader perspective, I'm just wondering if you have any final thoughts for our audience or maybe a final ask for our viewers today.
Yeah, well, I would keep the budget. I mean, we all want to set a plan, know where we're going, but to be able to predict where you're going to be at the end of a year when you're only midway through the year that you're beginning your planning is kind of hard. So include just some agile budgeting, reserve some growth funds for the unknown. So not all plans that you've set have to be unwound and then reallocated. You can just build and layer in on top of that. Keep the marketing transparency open, share performance, share results, just continuously be educating your executive team about marketing efforts and avoid those silos. That's often where mistrust can get built about what is marketing doing. Is it working? And when we have good open communication between executive team all the way through marketing teams and their execution, generally then performance and growth are just better understood.
That's great advice. And I thank you for that guidance. And I thank you, Karen, for being here. It's been a pleasure to connect with you. And I appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Very good. And a final thank you to all who tuned in for this 3 questions video interview. We'll see you next time.